Hey everyone, Shannon with Apogee of the Moon. Take 3 of me trying to record this. So I was trying to record it on a website app that I use to create the PowerPoints or the pretty slides, whatever. And yeah, twice I tried to do that. So now I'm recording it where I normally record. So I will share my screen and we will get diving into this. I'm not doing this again. 3rd time's the charm, or 3 strikes and we're out. It's that simple. All right. So this coming week, we have a lot of aspects going on. Venus is entering Libra. Mercury will be conjunct Mars. The Sun and Jupiter will be in opposition. Uranus is going retrograde, and Mercury is going to be trine Uranus after that happens. So what does this all mean in general? Venus enters her home sign of Libra. She is very relational here. She likes to communicate here. She likes to see all sides of the situation. Venus in Libra is more of the same energy because Venus obviously rules Libra, but she is back home for a time, being renewed here, just like she was in Taurus. We can expect relationships to take on a new subtle nuance and feedback, as well as, a grounded kind of energy going forward once she comes into that nice trine with Saturn later on. But we'll get there when we get there. Right now, she is revitalizing, renewing, refreshing this sign of Libra. Everyone's going to benefit from this in some way, shape, or form. And then we also have Mercury coming into a conjunction with Mars. The combination of Mars and Mercury together in Virgo says, watch out. This is faster thinking, faster speaking, faster communicating, possibly even quicker outcomes to varying degrees. Quicker tongues, quicker arguments can happen. This can also be a very creative expression as well. Just try to make sure you're sticking all the way through some things before jumping into the next task at hand. Mars is very fast energy, so and so is Mercury. So this can see people jumping from topic to topic, project to project, work to work. Slow it down and harness Mars for that one thing that is truly important above all the rest. And then for the Sun opposing Jupiter and Uranus retrograde, the opposition to Jupiter, this usually means an overinflation, expansion, expectation, enthusiasm, or ambition. And especially now in opposition to the Sun, our ego drives and our soul's expression is now in the mix. The Sun is our ego, but it's also our soul's true expression and how we came here to function and how we came here to be. So with the opposition of the Sun to Jupiter, yes, the Sun is in its home sign, but Jupiter has more leverage because it's a slower moving planet. The time it takes for the Sun to transit all 12 signs, Jupiter has gone through 1, depending on its retrograde cycle. So you get my point on that one. The opposition of will and ego against the many, with righteous dogma abounding. Jupiter is also a place where we can see our personal dogmas coming out and showing. And so, of course, we challenge dogma, we can challenge the ego. We can become so inflexible in our beliefs that we lose sight completely of the bigger picture with Jupiter and Aquarius. And so relax, use discernment, be a beacon of light for those that have lost their way, but also don't be so stuck in the ego that you forget that others also have a right to say what's on their mind and what they're thinking as well. And they have a right to be different than you. Just saying. So Uranus stations retrograde on the same day. And so, I don't know about you, but this is a very palpable energy. So change, freedom, liberation. Retrograde Uranus can see an internal shift and liberation of our old, stuck, stagnant, selfish needs, wants, desires in Taurus. And Taurus is all about the senses, all about the feels. With Uranus, this has been changing. Our world has been changing, right? And so now it's time for even more changes. So watch out, people will be acting crazy. And then Mercury, though, will be coming into a really nice trine. This is a waxing trine with Uranus. This is a fun, easy time to shift your mindset. It's an easy flow of brilliant ideas out of the blue downloads. Don't blink or you can miss this opportunity. And as with all easier aspects, you know, this, you can miss out on something that's easily within your grasp if you don't take hold and work with this energy. And just as such, this can be very practically funny, liberating, you know, out of the blue time for some, or an out of the blue creative project that is different, unique, and exhilarating. And so with that said, we will get into the all 12 signs forecast. And so for Aries and for Aries rising, Venus coming through and entering Libra is entering your 7th house of your partnerships. And so there could be a revitalization, a renewal, and a revitalization, a renewal, and an expansion in terms of what it is that's going on in partnership for you, as well as don't forget that Venus also rules your 2nd house of money. So there could be contracts, agreements, negotiations over the next several weeks with Venus here in terms of maybe contracts to do with money, material possessions, things like that. And then Mercury coming conjunct Mars. This is happening, you know, in Virgo, in your 6th house of your health, your wellness, your well-being, everything that you're doing every single day. And so Mars rules you, and Virgo is the, you know, Mercury does rule Virgo, but it also rules your 3rd house of communication. There could be communication going on, maybe very intense communication coming in, or you are in conversation about maybe a health condition that you are suffering from, or maybe there is communication about what it is that you're doing every single day. Maybe there's arguments and disputes on the work front. You know, maybe there's very intense conversations that are happening on the work front, or maybe there's something that's going on at work, or maybe there's something going on with your health, or, you know, something that you're doing every single day. So there could be some things like that going on for you as well. With the sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 5th and in your 11th house. So there's definitely some things that are going on in terms of your joy, your fun, your play, the things that you love to do because you love to do them, are coming into an opposition with your friends groups, your social networks, the people that you associate with by choice. This could also be maybe there is differing opinions and differing viewpoints on to do with your children and what it is that you're doing and what it is that they're doing, and maybe there's a differing of opinion there. You know, there could be that as well. And I am really sorry, I am losing my voice. This is the 3rd time I've recorded this, because I'm trying to get this out and technology is not cooperating. Thank you, Uranus. And speaking of Uranus, you know, this is also, Uranus is going retrograde on this day for you. This Uranus is going retrograde in your 2nd house. And so this could mean that there is a change in some type of financial situation that you're in. There could be a change in your resources and your monies and your materials and in your possessions. It's going to have to be revised, revisited, and reevaluated over the next several months until Uranus goes direct in January. But Mercury is coming into a really nice trine. So this could be utilizing something to do with your work every day, whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis, your money that you bring in from either a side hustle or money that you're bringing in from something that, some acts of service that you're doing for other people. And so with this, this could affect what's going on with your income as well. This is actually a really nice, this is a really nice energy. It's nice and trine. So these are both money houses for you. This is also, you know, your sense of worth, your sense of value, and your health as well. So just in general. And so there could be some really nice communication coming in, even if it is out of the blue, out of the box, weird, different, or disruptive. It's not going to be disruptive in like a negative connotation. It's going to be disruptive in a very positive way. So that is for Aries and for Aries rising. For Taurus and for Taurus rising, Venus is coming into your 6th house, revitalizing, renewing, you know, refreshing this area of service for you, what it is that you're doing every day, how it is that you're showing up every day in service for other people, or even showing up in service for yourself in terms of your health, your wellness, your well-being. And so this is also your chart ruler as well, showing up in the 6th house, revitalizing, renewing you, your physical body, in terms of making sure that you're strong, taken care of, your mental health is there, your well-being is there as well over the next several weeks with Venus here. Mercury coming conjunct Mars in Virgo. This is happening in your 5th house. This is actually really nice energy for you. Mercury does rule your 5th house, and it also does rule your 2nd house of your money, your materials, your possessions, your sense of value, your sense of self-worth. Mars does rule your 7th house of marriage partner, of contracts, agreements, negotiations, of business partners and clients. But Mars also rules, your 12th house of behind the scenes, things like that. So what this tells me, with Mercury and Mars coming conjunct in your 5th house, this could be a new person coming in that is of a romantic nature, that could really light you up, turn you on, and maybe they could be someone from the past, or maybe they are, maybe they're new, but they feel very familiar to you. They feel like someone from the past, maybe. But this could also be, falling prey to addictions as well. In this 5th house, maybe overindulging a little bit. So just be aware of that, Taurus people, especially Taurus rising, Taurus sun, Taurus moon, to a similar extent, just not as intense as Taurus rising. And so just be aware that while this is like a very positive thing, and this could feel really good in the moment, you could overdo it and wind up paying the price for it, in terms of like maybe, sense of value, worth, things like that later on. But have fun with it. I mean, that's not having it in the 5th house in and of itself is actually a really good, this is aspecting your ascendant very nicely. This is also aspecting your descendant very nicely. So, I mean, have fun with it, but be aware that you could overindulge, especially with Mars there, and you could, pay the price later on. Just be aware of that. And so for you, the sun opposing Jupiter, this is happening in your 4th and in your 10th house. And so what this means is that there's this push-pull going on between what's going on the home front for you, what's going on behind the scenes at home, behind closed doors, maybe something going on with your parents, maybe there's something going on there over this last little bit, or maybe your focus has been on the home and the home that you live in. And so, with Jupiter retrograding back into Aquarius, your focus is also going to be on what it is that you're doing in career, what it is that your public reputation is about. And so there could be this push-pull, something that needs to be revisited in terms of what it is that you're known for, what it is that you're doing in the world, and what you come home to. For you, and that could be a thing too. And with Uranus going retrograde, Uranus is going retrograde in your sign. So Taurus people, this is really, especially for you, very disruptive. You yourself could become very disruptive and be that disruptive energy in your own life, and really shake things up and really shake things out of complacency in terms of you yourself deciding that you're going to put something down. You're going to act very strange, very weird, very different, out of the box. And, this could have an effect on what it is that you're known for out in the world as well. But with Mercury coming into a really nice trine, in Virgo from, your 5th to your 1st, this could be really, really nice for you in terms of those romantic kind of, maybe you decide that you're going to date that person. Maybe there's this person that is really weird, very, really different, really unique, and you decide, you know what, this is exactly what I want. Or maybe you yourself are acting out of character, out of normal, but this is kind of like the new you. And so you yourself are pursuing maybe someone that you normally want in conversation and whatnot, and stimulation and, sexy, romantic kind of things. And that's for Taurus rising. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, Venus entering Libra, this is happening in your 5th house. This is the revitalization, renewal, re-energizing of your 5th house, of your self-expression, of your romantic partners, of your children, of your play, of your hobbies, your romance, the things that you love to do because you love to do them. So over the course of the several weeks that Venus is here, this is going to really revitalize this area of your life and have you feeling really good and really sexy and really ready to go and fired up about, well, not necessarily fired up, right? Because that's more of a Mars term, but having you feeling really sensual and really sexy with this 5th house with Venus here. And then Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your 4th house. So, this is your chart ruler. This is also your 4th house ruler, Mercury, coming into a conjunction with Mars. Mars is the slower moving moving planet. There could be arguments and disputes on the home front, so just be aware of that. There could be someone maybe that is being cut out of the home front. This is also the house of home, family, property. Maybe there is some type of property that needs to be get gone, right? Like you need to sell it, you need to cut it out, you need to get rid of it. This could also be a person being cut out as well on the home front. Because let's see, Mars also rules for you, the 11th house, and Mars also rules your 6th house of your health, your wellness, and whatnot. So this could definitely see maybe some inflammatory things happening, you know, either with friends, you know, behind the scenes. Maybe there's an argument and a dispute with a friend at home, or maybe there is something that's going on in terms of what it is that you're doing every day. And so there's a fight, there's an argument on the home front about what it is that you're doing every day. And maybe there's something that needs to be cut out, something that you need to change and let go of. And then the sun in opposition to Jupiter, the sun in Leo is in your 3rd house, right? So this has been revitalizing, refreshing, and renewing your 3rd house of communication, thinking, speaking, your community, what you're doing in your community and whatnot. And with Jupiter retrograding back into your 9th house, this is definitely something that you're working on, maybe publishing, speaking, writing, maybe a form of education or a certificate program, or maybe you're deciding that you're going to teach something. Maybe there was a missed opportunity for you to teach something that you're really good at, like skills of the hands and whatnot, with some of you Gemini risings. And so maybe there's a revisit happening and something that you're going to change going forward. And also with Uranus going retrograde in your 12th house, there could be some very out of the blue communication coming in, or some out of the blue being pulled away from society for one reason or another, whether or not it has to do with hospitals, just being away from the world in general. And, you know, maybe spiritual practice, maybe your dreams are really, or your sleep is disrupted. You know, maybe you're having some really wild, crazy dreams that you just like, wow, what the heck is this? Or maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe there's something going on here, but there's something that is shifting, something that is changing in terms of that 12th house, whether or not it's, you know, behind the scenes in terms of like your spiritual practice or something like that, or whether or not it's, you know, reevaluating your connection to source, God, the universe. Maybe it's also a reevaluation of your personal dogmas and your personal behind the scenes kind of devotional type things as well. And then with Mercury coming into a really nice trine, I mean, Mercury is in your 4th house. This is the 4th and the 12th house. So these are both very hidden houses. There could be conversations going on behind the scenes about what's going to happen going forward in the home. Maybe there's someone that, you know, is leaving the home or something like that. You know, Uranus is kind of wild, out of the blue conversations, or maybe there's a message or a download that you get, you know, from spirit, from source, or maybe there's a dream that you have that really you decide that you're going to take action on and change what's going on the home front as well. So that is for Gemini and for Gemini rising. For Cancer and for Cancer rising, Libra enters your 4th house, or Libra. Venus enters your 4th house of Libra. And so this is a revitalization, a renewal, and, you know, a revitalization, a renewal, and a refreshment of this 4th house, of what's going on in the home front. Maybe there is something that's going to go on here because Mercury will go retrograde here too. Maybe there's something going on with your parents. Maybe there's something going on with your family. Maybe there's something going on with the house in which that you live. Maybe you're beautifying your home, or, you know, something like that. Just to remember that Venus also rules your 11th house. So maybe there's friends and associates and acquaintances that are coming to stay with you for a little while, or maybe there's something to do with revitalizing friendships at home or something like that. With Mercury coming conjunct Mars in Virgo, you know, this is happening in your 3rd house of communication. One thing that I do want to say to Cancer rising people specifically, be careful with your vehicles. Be careful driving, be careful, you know, moving about within your community, because, you know, Mars does have a tendency, and especially because this is your 3rd house ruler coming conjunct Mars, of moving within your community, doing things within your community, you know, and this is also the 12th house. There could be something that happens in terms of vehicles, car accidents, things like that, or just accidents in general in the area that you live. So be very careful, please. Cancer rising people specifically, please, please. And then, so, you know, this also on, you know, in a different way could show up as really intense conversations, you know, that have to do that. Maybe this is really intense conversations, you know, about, I mean, when I say intense, it can be positive or negative depending on your viewpoint, right? But Mars also rules your 5th house, and Mars also rules your 10th house. So maybe this can be very intense conversations about something that you're really passionate and fired up about. And so there can also be conversations about your career and moving forward and what you're going to be doing. This could also be, you know, Mars does cut things away. So maybe there's a conversation that comes in that is cutting away. Maybe there's, you know, so maybe you have a lover and that lover decides that they're done, you know, or this could be maybe you're working something to do in the career and there's, you know, a boss is deciding that, you know, you no longer work for them. It could be something like that too. You know, this is very sudden, very intense communication, whether or not it's on the positive end of, you know, someone coming in, blowing your socks off and you start a relationship with them, or someone coming in and offering you a job. Or the reverse, right? So it can work both ways. It just also depends on how your chart is set up. And then so for the sun in opposition to Jupiter, and this is happening in your 2nd house and in your 8th house. So there is an association here with a reevaluation that's going on in that 8th house of other people's money, joint finances, of you know, taxes, inheritances, insurances, you know, things that have to do with other people's money, death, power struggles, things like that. And with the sun coming through and refreshing your 2nd house, like it has been for the last, you know, almost month, because it's ready to move out of here in a few days after this opposition, your focus has been on your materials and your possessions and the money that you're making and your sense of value and what it is that you value. So that's been refreshed, renewed and revitalized. And so this opposition can mean that there is something maybe that's coming back around in terms of money, resources from the government for you. Maybe you're not on unemployment anymore, but maybe you have to go back on unemployment after this because there's something that is revisited, or maybe, you know, there's a resource somehow that's lost through a partner, or maybe there's, like a resource is lost through a partner or something like that. With the other stuff that's going on now. Uranus going retrograde, this is happening in your 11th house. So there could be a reevaluation going on in terms of the groups, organizations, and friends that you have in your life. And also, this could also be a reevaluation of what it is that you want to do long term. This is the 11th house, isn't just friends, groups, and organizations. This is also our hopes, our wishes, our dreams, and the future that we envision for ourselves, right? So there could be a reevaluation going on here across many different levels of life, whether or not it's your friends, the people that you surround yourself with, the groups that you belong to, or reevaluating your long-range plans and goals going forward over the next several months. Mercury in trine with Uranus, this is happening in your 3rd house and in, you know, your 11th house. And so this is really great in terms of communicating, you know, a reevaluation of long-term plans, goals, and orientation, as well as maybe a friend or a group or something like that coming back around and having a conversation very out of the blue, out of the box, kind of maybe even communicating some type of either a secret, or because like Mercury does rule your 12th house, or maybe there's a communication that happens that is out of the blue that has to do with like a message from the divine, or maybe you have a message that you need to communicate with a friend that maybe you get like a download or a dream or something like that, and you have to share it with your friends and with, you know, maybe with a group or something like that. So that is for Cancer and for Cancer rising. For Leo and for Leo rising, Venus coming through Libra, this is going to be revitalizing, refreshing and renewing your third house of how you think, how you speak, how you communicate. And so you could definitely be communicating in a much more sensual way, in a much more harmonious way, in a much more relational way. Not that you don't anyway, because Libra is the ruler of your third house of how you think, speak, and communicate. But there could be something going on here that's revitalizing, and maybe like a long-term contract comes of that with the trine to Saturn. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there, and we'll talk about that when we talk about it. Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your second house. So this can not only cut a friendship out of your life, this can be very intense conversations with friends. This can be maybe a, Mercury does rule your second house. Mars does rule your fourth and your ninth. So there could be maybe someone's leaving. Maybe there's a conversation or something that's happening. Maybe someone is leaving your home. Maybe there's someone that is they're just cut out of your life completely, and they're done, and they're out of your home. Because Mars does rule your home and your fourth house, but Mars also rules your ninth house of your higher world view. So maybe there's something that has been affecting your sense of value, your sense of worth, maybe even affecting your income. And so maybe with these two coming conjunct, maybe there's communications that are happening through friendship. Because Mercury does rule your 11th house as well. So maybe there's a communication that comes in through friendship that is changing up your sense of value, what it is you value, and maybe helping to cut away any blockages that have to do with your mindset around how you make your resources. And so there could be that as well. Maybe a resource is cut out of your life as well, just in a general sense. Mercury conjunct Mars in the second house of resources. Maybe there's something that is being cut out in terms of financial how you make your money, either an expenditure. This could also be a spur of the moment expenditure that has to do with, your property, or your like an expense that comes in suddenly, and it's like, oh my God, this is going to cost a lot of money, kind of thing. And then we do have the sun in your sign that has been revitalizing and refreshing and renewing you in opposition to Jupiter retrograde in your seventh house. There could be a contract, an agreement, or a negotiation that is up for reevaluation. This could also be maybe a reevaluation of how you share your resources with your partners. This could also be because, this is Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter rules your 8th house and it rules your 5th house. So maybe there's a reevaluation of something going on in partnership that really lights you up and brings you joy, because it's something that you love to do just because you love to do it. This could be, a conversation being had about that. And then with Uranus stationing for retrograde, this is definitely changing what it is that you're known for, what it is that you're doing, how you're known out in the world, whether or not you're getting married, getting divorced, changing jobs, leaving a job, starting a job, something like that. There's definitely a massive shift that is happening. And it's going to take some time to really sift through it all, because Uranus is going to be retrograde here until January. So there's definitely a reevaluation that needs to happen over this next several months about what it is that you're known for, what it is that you're doing, and the disruption that's happening in terms of what's going on in your career sector as well. But with Mercury coming into a trine, this could be a very dynamic change in terms of how you're making your resources. Maybe you decide that you want to leave your 9-to-5 job as Uranus goes retrograde, and Mercury coming in, you have the resources that you need because of whatever is going on. But you also have the support of your friends groups here in the second house. Maybe there is maybe something happens with that Mars Mercury conjunction earlier in the week, and then your friends, right? Mercury 11th house ruler, your friends rally behind you and help and pool their money and help you out of a bad situation. Or, you know, there could be money coming in from social networks and things that you, your aspirations, your future goal oriented things that you've been working on. There could be more money coming in for that as well. And so that is for Leo and for Leo rising. For Virgo and for Virgo rising, Venus entering Libra, this is happening in your second house. So your sense of value, your sense of worth, your sense, the money and materials and the possessions that you have as being revitalized, renewed, refreshed. Your sense of personal value is being revitalized, renewed, and refreshed. And so over the course here, there could be changes that happen, you know, especially when Venus does come into that really nice trine with Saturn in the sixth. These both are money houses. There could definitely be very long range, long-term lasting changes that happen in terms of your money, your materials, your possessions, and what you're doing every day, either for health or for, you know, for work in general. We'll get there when we get there. With Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your sign. So if you are a Virgo, sun, moon, or ascendant, anywhere from 4 to say 11 degrees, this is going to be affecting you in a really big way. This is your chart ruler coming conjunct Mars. And Mars rules your third house of thinking, speaking, and communicating. And it also rules your 8th house of joint finances. So there could definitely be your partner's resources. There could be maybe there's something happening and your partner loses a resource or loses a job or something like that. Or, you know, there's a transformation that's happening for you in terms of, you know, your thinking, speaking, and communicating. And maybe you realize that maybe you haven't been communicating as clearly as you want to, or maybe you realize that there's a different way to communicate. This could also be maybe something or someone is being cut out of your life, like a career, because the 10th house is what it is that we're known for and what it is that we do out in the world. And Mercury rules you, but it also rules your 10th house. So there could definitely be something being cut away from your life in terms of something that you're known for. And so just be cognizant of that as well. This could also see you being fired up and really being passionate about something going on in your life. This could be you being fired up and passionate. I mean, third house is also like our entrepreneurship and our businesses, right? So maybe there's something that you're really fired up and you're really passionate about moving forward here as well. So there is that. The sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 12th house and in your 6th house. So there's been, maybe you've been really super tired, super sleepy with the sun here coming home in the 12th house. Maybe you've been wanting to sleep more or being pulled away from the world in some way, shape, or form. And with this opposition to Jupiter now retrograde back into your 6th house, this is reevaluating your partnerships, or maybe even reevaluating what's going on in the home, you know, or something that's going on every single day that needs to be reevaluated, right? There's something that you're doing or something that you're not doing, or a way that you're moving through the world every single day that needs to be reevaluated here. And, you know, Jupiter does rule your 4th house of home, family, and property, but it also rules your 7th house of partnerships, agreements, negotiations, and contracts. So there could definitely be, you know, some conversations surrounding maybe signing on the dotted line for property or something like that, or, you know, just in general, the opposition of the sun and Jupiter in the 12th and in the 6th, there could be some addictions that come to light, or something like that for you to reevaluate and for you to put to bed for a final time. With Uranus stationing to go retrograde here, this is stationing in your 9th house of foreign travel, education, publishing, marketing. So depending on what you're doing out in the world, depending on whether or not you're traveling, depending on whether or not, you know, this could be a fun trip. Maybe there's something that comes up out of the blue, and especially, you know, Mercury is in your sign. Mercury is revitalizing and refreshing you, coming home and refreshing you from its sojourn around the zodiac. And so with this trine to Uranus in the 9th, especially with Uranus freshly stationed retrograde, maybe this is a reevaluation You yourself are reevaluating what it is you believe to be right, true, and just in the world. This could also be you reevaluating, you yourself reevaluating where you want to live, and where you want to live, and what you want to be doing in your career as well. Like there's a reevaluation that's happening here. And because Mercury does rule these two places in your chart, there could be a reevaluation of the big picture going forward. So that is for Virgo and for Virgo rising. For Libra and for Libra rising, Libra is refreshing. Libra is refreshing. Yes, you're being refreshed. You yourself are being refreshed, renewed, revitalized with Venus coming home in your sign. So if you, especially if you're an ascendant, but also if your sun or your moon is here in Libra, there is a refreshment that's happening. And so for you, Libra, this is you, your physical self feeling refreshed, revitalized, renewed, feeling more sensual, more sexy, more ready to tackle and do whatever it is that you need to do out in the world, you yourself, right? Now with Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your 12th house. This is a behind the scenes conversation that is happening that has to do possibly with a partnership, with a marriage partner or a business partner or a future partnership, you know, that's here, because, and there's also, let's see what else. So this is also, Mercury also rules your 9th house as well. So this could be, you know, a conversation that is happening behind the scenes that has to do with what that has to do, yeah. Etch a sketch, shake the head. Etch a sketch. So Mercury conjunct Mars in the 12th house. This is a behind the scenes conversation that is happening in private. No one else knows about. This can have to do with partnerships, business, or marriage partners. This can also be conversations that have to do with finances, right? Excuse me, because Mars doesn't just rule your 7th house, it also rules your 2nd house of how you make your money. So there could be a conversation that's happening behind the scenes that is gonna, you know, affect your worldview, or affect your big picture. And it could be lucrative. It could affect your money. It could affect your partnerships. Like there could be something coming in for you, a conversation that you're having behind the scenes that's going to be very lucrative for you, or a conversation behind the scenes that is going to cut someone or something out of your life. And then the sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 11th and in your 5th house. So the sun has revitalized, refreshed, and renewed your 11th house. Now with Jupiter coming back retrograde into your 5th house, this is kind of a reevaluation and this could be a missed opportunity in terms of a creative project that has to do with your long range plans. And now it's coming back around. And you're going to have to reevaluate this. You're going to have to really balance your hopes, your wishes, your dreams against what it is that you want to do every single day creatively, right? Because it's in the 5th house. This is a very creative house. Jupiter rules your 3rd house of how you think, how you speak, and how you communicate, but it also rules your 6th house of your daily routines, your employees, things like that. So there could be, you know, conversations that are happening or a balance that needs to be struck with that. With Uranus stationing to go retrograde, this is happening in your 8th house. So there could be something over the next several months that's going to have to be reevaluated in terms of joint finances, other people's money, loans, inheritances, taxes, insurances, you know, death, even things like that, that need to be reevaluated. And with Mercury, you know, being in your 12th house of behind the scenes, maybe there's a behind the scene conversation that's happening about your partner's resources and about what they need to do in terms of their resources, or maybe there's a reevaluation of the disruption of their resources, but it's not going to be known. It's going to be talked about behind the scenes. But this is a really good, you know, maybe a partnership's job ends as well, or maybe they lose a job. but it's going to be more behind the scenes kind of thing. Or this could also be you having dreams, downloads, things like that about what to do in terms of joint finances and money through your partnerships with other people. And so that is for Libra and for Libra rising. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, Libra coming through and revitalizing, refreshing, and renewing your 12th house is going to have you kind of wanting to pull yourself away from the world over the next several weeks as Venus transits this house for you. But it's not a bad thing. This is going to refresh and renew and revitalize your spiritual self, your spiritual life, what's going on behind the scenes, behind closed doors. And it's a well-needed break in terms of, pulling yourself out of the day-to-day and really sitting with your spiritual practices, or maybe even your dreams. You can have messages that come through your dreams for when Venus comes through your sign and refreshes and revitalizes you. Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your 11th house. This could be the loss of a friendship. This could be someone that you really care about that is a friend that is no longer a friend. It could be that on like the more negative part. But this is also too with Mercury coming conjunct Mars. Mercury is the stronger planet, Mars is the slower moving. So there could be arguments and disputes with friends as well. But this could also see really, this is your chart ruler, right? So this rules you. This also rules your health, your wellness, and your well-being. Mars rules your 6th house as well. And Mercury, in rulership here, this also rules your 8th house of joint finances. So there could be conversations with social groups, social networks, long range plans, goals, and orientations here that have to do with like where you see yourself in 5 years. This is like the 5-10 year plan, whatever. So there could be really intense conversations about what needs to happen, where this needs to go, and how it needs to go about being done. Mercury, very practical, very pragmatic, that kind of thing. Mars here though too, this is your chart ruler and your 6th house ruler. So there could be conversations, maybe conversations about friends, and maybe conversations about a friend's health or the lack thereof. Maybe you have a friend that's suffering with a health issue, or maybe you have a friend that's also suffering from maybe they're suffering, maybe they suffer the loss of a partner or something like that, right? Like there could be something. I'm just saying. Okay, so now with the sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 4th and in your 10th house. So there's a revisit that's happening here with Jupiter in your 4th house of something to do, something you love to do, something you're creative about, something that either children or creative hobbies, or something that you're really truly passionate about. And so with Jupiter retrograding back into the 4th house, this is on the home front. This is with the sun in opposition, right? The sun has been refreshing, renewing, and revitalizing your career and what you're doing out in the world and your public persona and public reputation. And so with Jupiter here retrograding back into the 4th house, there could be a revisit of something to do with property, something to do with behind the scenes, something to do with home, maybe, and family that needs to be reevaluated. This could also be something that needs to be reevaluated in terms of even the purchase, you purchasing specifically, because Jupiter also rules your 2nd house of your money, your materials, your possessions. And in the 4th house, this could maybe see you purchasing some land or purchasing, something to do for the home as well. And with Uranus stationing to go retrograde here in your 7th house, this is a reevaluation over the next several months of contracts, agreements, negotiations. And so maybe you're reevaluating a contract, an agreement, or a negotiation through partnership, whether or not that is through marriage, business. It could also be a reevaluation of, maybe this is also because the sun in opposition to Jupiter and Uranus stationing retrograde on the same day, this could be a reevaluation maybe of a home purchase that you want to move forward with, but you don't really know how to go about moving forward with it. But it will be clear in the next few months. And then with Mercury, right? Mercury in your 11th house of your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, of your future plans and goals in trine with Uranus in your 7th house. Maybe there's something that happens that maybe a friend, or even your partner or something like that comes through and they say something that's off the wall, that's weird, that's different, but it gets you thinking that, oh my God, yes, this is what we need to do. And it could have to do with contracts, agreements, negotiations, the purchase of a home or the purchase of land or something like that. And it's something weird, different, unique, out of the box. And it could be a message coming in or something that a friend says off the wall. Right? So that is a possibility too for some of you. And so that is for Scorpio and for Scorpio rising. For Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, Venus coming through, revitalizing, refreshing, renewing your 11th house. And so this is your friends, the groups and organizations that you belong to, your future goals and plans, like the 5-year, 10-year plan, where you see yourself in 5 or 10 years and what you see yourself doing. In 5 or 10 years. And so there's going to be some very interesting things that are going to go on here over the next several weeks with Venus through here and some of the aspects that she's going to be making. Mercury coming conjunct Mars is happening in your 10th house. This could literally be you walking away from a job, walking away from something that it is that you're known for, whether or not that is, or even losing, or even a boss. Maybe a boss leaves your job unexpectedly, or maybe you yourself decide, you know what, you turn in your resignation notice and you're done. It could be something like that as well, because Mars rules your 12th house. It also rules your 5th house. So with this could be possibly as well, because Mercury doesn't just rule your 10th house, it also rules your 7th. This could be a contract, an agreement, a negotiation for something that you love to do, a hobby that you are taking to the next level, and you are going to be known for what it is that you are so passionate about that you just cannot stop yourself. And so you're going to be known for this going forward. It could be something like that, right? Now, the sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 9th and in your 3rd house. So this is publishing, writing, speaking, communicating. This is education. This is also a reevaluation of the minute details that are needed for what it is that's going on in that 9th house, right? So with Jupiter here, Jupiter rules your 4th house of property, and it also rules you, right? So you yourself could be deciding that you're going to move out of the community that you're in and move into a completely different community. And you're going to have maybe conversations with someone at large, like someone that's maybe from an institution, or from someone that is from, I don't know why, I want to say the ag department. I just want to say that. So I'm just going to say it. Maybe someone from an ag department, like an agricultural department. It could be something like that too. And I don't know why I say that, because I don't know any Sagittariuses that are, I don't know any Sagittariuses that are farming. No. So then we also have Uranus stationing to go retrograde, and this is happening in your 6th house of what it is that you're doing every day. So there's a lot of themes here this week of your money, your material, your possessions, not money, material, and possessions, what it is that you're known for and what it is that you're doing every day. So there is definitely a change happening in terms of what it is that you're doing for work, what it is that you're doing for your health routine, what it is that you're doing every single day, just to sustain your living and the way you live, as well as what it is that you're doing out in the world. And then with Mercury that rules, your 7th and your 10th house coming into a really nice trine, this could definitely be you changing up the status quo. This could be someone in a position of power and authority over you as well, that's going to help you understand what it is that you need to do going forward. This could also be a partnership that has to do with what it is that you want to be known for, right? Because Mercury rules those 2 houses, your 10th of what it is that you're known for, and your 7th of your partnerships. And so this trine could definitely see you changing what it is that you do every single day for work, and cutting out the career of what it is that you're known for and changing it up and doing something completely different, completely outside the box. And so, and then, you know, yeah, that's there's that. So then we have Capricorn and Capricorn rising. Capricorn, you know, you have Venus coming through, revitalizing, refreshing, and renewing what it is that you're doing in career, what it is that you're known for, how it is that people in the public see your public persona, right? So there is that. And then, you know, we're going to have some other things going on over the course of the several weeks that she's here, and some changes that possibly are going to be made. Now, Mercury coming into a conjunction with Mars, this is happening in Virgo. This is happening in your 9th house, right? So this could definitely be, I mean, this is really nice because of how it's aspecting your ascendant, right? So when we look at the 9th and the 5th houses, those are really nice because they're in trine with your first house, with your physical being, with your physical manifestation on this planet. And so Mercury and Mars in the 9th house, you know, how you think about the world at large is maybe getting a reevaluation. This could also see some Capricorn risings deciding that they're going to move into a completely different country, or they're going to move very far away from where they're currently living, right? Because Mars also rules your 4th house. Excuse me, Mars also rules your 11th house, your 11th house of the groups and organizations that you belong to. So you could be connecting with someone at a distance about education, or about teaching, or about publishing, or about things like that. This is also marketing and things as well, as a home purchase, and maybe moving countries, or moving a long distance away from where you currently live. Now, with the sun in opposition to Jupiter, this is happening in your 2nd and in your 8th house. So, you know, the sun has been revitalizing, renewing, and refreshing your 8th house of joint finances, resources, things like that. So your focus has been on your partner's resources, or on your partnership's resources, or on money that you're bringing in from clients, or on other people's money in general. This could have to do with inheritances, taxes, insurance claims. You know, this could have to do with even occult studies and sciences and things like that. You know, but with Jupiter coming back from the 3rd into the 2nd, this is definitely a reevaluation of what it is that you value, the money and the materials and the resources that you make, and how it affects the other in your life. With Uranus going retrograde here in your 5th house, this is actually really nice. Again, this is again in trine with your ascendant and sextile with your descendant. So there is definitely outside the box things maybe changing up how you're expressing, how you're showing up. You know, maybe even getting an upgrade to a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or maybe your boyfriend or your girlfriend surprises you, or something like that. Or maybe, you know, there's a reevaluation that needs to happen with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or, you know, a lover of some kind, or even children. Maybe you're reevaluating whether or not you want to have children. That could be a thing. And so that's going to be happening with Mercury coming into a really nice trine from the 9th to the 5th. This could also see you maybe even starting a long distance relationship, or maybe something happens and your relationship actually turns into a long distance relationship. Maybe you're separated for some reason from being with your partner, or with your, not partner, but with your lover, or something like that. You know, it could be something like that, or it could be maybe something that you're really passionate about. You decide that you're going to go back to school for, or you're going to learn how to do something, or you're going to pick up a skill of some kind because you just found this thing and you absolutely love it, and you want it to be something more than just a hobby. Could be something like that. So that is for Capricorn and Capricorn rising. For Aquarius and Aquarius rising, Venus is entering Libra, and Libra is your ninth house. And so this is refreshing, revitalizing, and renewing how it is that you see the world around you. This is refreshing, revitalizing, and renewing your big picture worldview of your dogma, right? So Venus through here is going to be changing up several things, revitalizing things, renewing things. Mercury will go retrograde here, so there will be a reevaluation, but not yet. So we'll get there when we get there. For now, it's a revitalization. Maybe too, you decide that you want to go back to school for some reason, or you want to learn something new. With Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your 8th house. And so this can see you, this could see a partner's resources being cut away in specific. This can also see maybe a child's resources being cut away. This could have to do maybe with taxes, inheritances, insurances, or something like that. This could also be maybe talking to your child about a will or something that you are doing for your end of life type thing for some of you. For others of you, this could be, like I said, a partner's resources being cut away. Mars also rules your 10th house. So this could be a joint venture being having the kibosh put to it, right? Because Mars can cut it away. Or this is a renewal of being very passionate about what's going on in terms of the partnerships that you have and the resources that you want to make in that sense too. Let's see, what else is Mercury rule for you? Yeah, Mercury rules your 5th house of something that lights you up, that brings you joy and you're passionate about. And so this could definitely be very passionate conversation about what it is that you're doing in the world, what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that you love to do just because you love to do it as well. And it's fun for you. And then the sun in opposition to Jupiter, Jupiter is retrograding back into your sign. It's in your 1st house. There's a reevaluation that's happening on your sense of value, your sense of worth, your sense of personal security. And so this can also be a reevaluation of how it is that you're making your money specifically, because Jupiter rules your 2nd house. And so, there could be that. This is also in opposition. This could be, the sun has been revitalizing, renewing, and refreshing your 7th house of partnerships. And so maybe this opposition is affecting, the sun here in the 7th house is affecting your sense of value, your personal sense of value, or maybe there's something going on that's affecting your resources specifically. It also could have something to do with groups of friends, organizations that you belong to, things like that. Maybe there's you yourself are reevaluating your friends and your partnerships, or maybe even like social contracts specifically. And then Uranus stationing to go retrograde. This is happening in your 4th house. So there's something that's definitely been going on for the last several years in terms of your home, your family, your property, your roots, where you come from, where you live even. Maybe you're really getting that urge to just say, you know what, let's move cross country. Let's move here. Let's move here. I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be tied down to one house. Maybe you decide that you want to be a nomad. Just be aware that Uranus here is creating that need, that want, and that desire for liberation and freedom. But once it moves out of Taurus, you could settle back down into a home somewhere else, or what have you. Just be aware that that Uranus upsetting that 4th house could have long-term implications as well, because of the ongoing square with Saturn. But then we also have Mercury coming into a really nice trine with Uranus from the 8th. So this could be money, materials, possessions from other people. This could be money from other people coming in. Maybe this is money coming in from a bank for the purchase of a new home somewhere else, and you really are moving. It could be something like that. This could also be insurance claims to do with the home. Maybe something happens and there's some damage that has been done, so you have to go through your insurance and do all that stupid claim and things like that. And so it's going to be quick. It's going to be coming through out of the blue, out of the box, and different, for sure. And then for Pisces and for Pisces rising, Venus is entering your 8th house. This is the house of joint resources. This is the house of other people's money, you know, taxes, inheritances, insurances, clients' money, things like that can be seen here, as well as very transformational occult practices, things like that, you know, death, rebirth of the self, and your partner's resources as well. So this is a revitalization, a renewal, and a regeneration of sorts for you in terms of your partner's resources. And then Mercury coming conjunct Mars, this is happening in your 7th house. This could very well be for Pisces rising specifically, anywhere from maybe 4 to 11 degrees, a partnership actually being cut out of your life. This could be the ending of a relationship period in general, for some of you. For others of you, this could see you being really fired up and really passionate about what you're doing in relationship as well. This could also see maybe money. Maybe there is an argument that's happening with a partner about money specifically, because Mars does rule your 2nd house of your finances and whatnot. And maybe there's also, this could also see arguments and disputes with people from foreign countries, that maybe if they're a partner from a foreign country, this could see you arguing with them. But this is also, you know, the ruler of your 4th house as well, the 4th and the 9th house rulers in the 7th. Maybe you're signing on a contract to either purchase a home or signing documents for that, you know, that 8th house, that money coming in from an outside source. It could be that as well, signing a contract to purchase a house. Maybe that's finally done and you're signing on the dotted line on this. The sun in opposition to Jupiter, though, Jupiter has retrograded back out of your sign into your 12th house of addictions, behind the scenes, past lives, things like that, dreams. And with the opposition to the sun, this is affecting your health. You yourself could be going through an addictive, self-sabotaging cycle right now, just with this in general. And so it's affecting your health and vitality, and you need to get a handle on it and get it situated for rising specifically. Some. For others, this could be like a dynamic of wanting to pull away from the world, wanting to be away from the daily grind, wanting to pull away from the everyday mundane that's going on, but not being able to, because you need to focus on what's going on every single day. And maybe this could also see you having to focus on your health, your well-being, and having to go to the hospital or a doctor or a specialist or something like that, right? With Uranus going retrograde, Uranus is going retrograde in your 3rd house. And so your thinking, speaking, communicating is going to be really wild, really different, really unique. And so just watch out for disrupting, you know, disruptions in the community, disruptions maybe with your vehicles, things like that. Now, with Mercury coming into a nice trine, this could also be the purchase of a vehicle. Maybe out of the blue, out of the box, you decide, you know what, I am done with these beater cars that I have been having. I've had this car for 10, 12, 15 years and I'm done with it. You know what, I want a new car and I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy one because the resources are there and I'm just going to do it. And you do. So it could be something like that for you guys. This could also be communication coming in. Maybe there's a reevaluation that needs to happen with the way that you're communicating in partnership as well. There could be that as well. There could be really wild, really crazy, really different communications that come in through partners, or you yourself are communicating something that is wildly different to your partner as well. So that is all 12 signs. And I really hope that this uploads and I can get this out to you all. It's been like 5 hours now that I've been working on this and I am about to lose my voice completely. So I do apologize. And I do hope that this makes it to you all. And I will see you next week to talk about the upcoming full moon. So just know too, this is all a build up to that really intense full moon that we have at 29 degrees of Aquarius. So take care, have fun, stay safe.